Hey there, Goa fans. This is Mark DJ Solitaire here with episode 140 of Retro Goa Explorations, my weekly or nearly weekly series in which I present in each episode one of my favorite tracks from the 1990s Goa Trance psychedelic dance movement. This is going to be another double episode for reasons that will be clearer once we get there. This is again music largely at this point in the series that I came across in the from the autumn of 1997 through to the summer of 1998, though this one actually did come out a bit before that. I remember buying it in London. I remember where I got it. I actually can't find the CD single anymore, so that sort of went somewhere at some point. And it's interesting. The reason I'm featuring this, my choice is a little bit different than might be expected in this one. So there were two tracks on the vinyl single and a bonus third track on the CD single, which, as far as I know, didn't really make it anywhere else. One track of the CD of the single and the vinyl and the CD single was much more popular than the other one. I'm opting for the other one. And there's also a fun little hoo-ha going on in terms of what the title track was or not. So it's been a while since I featured Etnica, and I figured I should. And so this is a Blue Room single. I'm dressed for the occasion here with a Blue Room shirt, uh, and also a Blue Room shirt that features an alien, which is really appropriate when we're talking about those four Italians and what it was that they were musically creating. So this is the single Plastic, which came out, I believe, in March 97 officially. At least that was the release date that was due. I remember buying it at was one of those record stores downtown in London on, I think, on Berwick Street. And again, the single went somewhere. But Plastic is a much slower track than the flip side, Vimana, which became an extremely popular track. And on the CD single was also Floating Universe. Now, these two tracks for me are almost one thing because when Dat Records came out with Etnica Live in Athens, which was October 96, meaning obviously these tracks were done by, the end of 1996, but that single came out somewhat after. They were beautifully and seamlessly fused. Now, that set rather, I'm predicting and tripping up what's coming next. The whole set was had a preamble, a 2 or 3 minute ambient preamble. And that's something that was done back in the day with a lot of artists and with DJs and with parties. The first track was not a kicking track in a DJ set, at least at the beginning of a party. And in live sets, there would often be that kind of slower thing. I remember my first outdoor party, and I remember that the first set built up from, I remember the first track because, of course, my memory, right? July 1995. Who doesn't remember? It was Whatever Happened to Utopia was the first track on that. And I remember because I just love that Australasia album. And for the first 2 hours, it was just this build up from down tempo. And, each DJ fused seamlessly with the next. So that was really what a lot of DJs did and how the parties were sculpted. And I remember that when Ollie played at Fuji in October 1995, he played one slower track to start, and then poof, then it was off. And, it was talked about that, oh, that was pretty fast to start things kicking, that there was only one down tempo track. So here they made a point, and Maori shared with Fede when they wrote the notes for the Stat Records release, that they would start off with something specifically designed that was going to lead into the first track of the set. And it's a wonderful, wonderful flow here. Now, I kind of forgot about these tracks for a while, to be honest, probably because my CD single went missing at some point crossing continents. And so when it was, once I heard this prior to release, I was just like, what is this magic? There was that beautiful opening and then leading into Plastic, which is just magnificent, and then seamlessly fused with Floating Universe, such that I actually couldn't tell what was what. Like it was really, I'd completely forgotten these tracks. And now when I listen to them unmixed, I'm sort of like, well, they're kind of begging for each other. They're just such a beautiful, seamless fit. So I thought for this episode, I would feature both of them. Vimana has had lots of airtime and great track, really high energy, all of that. Love the spoken samples in there about our greatest spiritual leaders. But these tracks reach, they reach deeper into the soul for me. And what's interesting is also the slower BPM. Plastic is 130 to 131. My tractor sort of thing was reading it at like somewhere in between. And I was really surprised that Floating Universe was reading at around 135. Again, not right on. So it's kind of interesting, right? Things are a little looser and more analog those days. We're not just talking about the equipment. So it's these are slower. And here I am doing episode 140 when 140 is kind of one of the common BPMs from the time, and I'm doing two tracks that are slower, but so be it. So these are both absolutely incredible tracks that have some of the great hallmarks of the Etnica and Pleiadians project. And there's actually a little bit more of that distinctive Etnica sound here. Actually, you can start to hear, some of the different flavoring and instrumentation and, the transparency and so on, compared with what would come soon after in the IFO release on Dragonfly. So, with that, I think I'll probably start playing the tracks and listening to what's going on. There's lots to talk about in both of these tracks. They're absolutely magnificent and they really pack a punch. So let's start off with the title track of the single. That actually brings me to another point before we start the playback. So originally, I mean, Vimana is more of that sort of hit single kind of track than the slower Plastic. But somehow in the proceedings, they decided to make Plastic the title track. But if you look at the CD single, the artwork hadn't been completely adjusted, and the spine of the CD single still says Vimana when the cover says Plastic. So a fun little trivia point there. So it sort of shows, that there was a shift in the evolution of the concept of how this was going to go down. It's understandable, actually. The Vimana would be the title track, but I'm glad it's Plastic because, well, it's a very different kind of track. So let's give it a listen. Plastic by Etnica. Okay, so we get this kind of interesting bouncing, just some basic sounds, but they all start sounding like voices. Everything in here is going to sound like a voice from, one of these guys. So that kind of, these synth sounds that really sound like utterances from some being from another dimension. There's the kick, very sneaky slide. Beautiful rubbery stuff in the background. So very, measured introduction of these items, these different voices and sounds. There's the hi-hats. Now we're starting to get more propulsion in the rhythm. More that rapid pace, and then. So this, you're really in full trance mantra mode here, right? The simplicity of those sounds while the pace is picking up with other ones, and just that repetition. So that other extra harmonic riff, another mantric voice sort of joining the proceedings. It's really interesting having that extra kind of kick, that extra foundation to that other voice. Then we get that mystical kind of riff that's so typical of Etnica. Really sounds like some of the stuff off their first album, right? That kind of unique, intergalactic, ethnic kind of sound. And very hypnotic, otherworldly, kind of ancient, cosmic, tribal sort of vibe here. All kinds of fabulous riffing here with that voice going off. Now, this gets its solo. Different instrumentation. Now it gets doubled up. So it's like the whole chorus is coming together. Drums building up. Look at that. What a kind of break. Hey, pull out the kick. Do something with the content that was already presented and evolve it. Listen to that bass line. That's a new presentation. So again, it's like this transmission being beamed down, like you Earthlings better get the message. There's always this kind of angsty, anguished kind of expression in the riffs by this project. It's just brilliant. And the kick. And again a break. The kick dropped out for a little bit while we just had that bass line, and then it's back. Cool sounds. Right, some more dimension added through the percussion. Then doubling up again. And I mean, this is actually a bit of a throwback to their first album on, I think it was High Society, Juggling Alchemists. We're getting some shades of Trip Tonight in here as well. Right, just the way it's kind of, the melodic content is kind of chopped up. It's really quite brilliant. gonna get another round of it here. Sort of again, just that loop, that mantra going over and over. So again, we get this kind of insistent riff here. And we get that doubled up. Kick, another build up. And then, whoa, wait a second, like now there's a key change, there's this other kind of rubbery bass. Then you get that other alien interjection. You're just like, what just happened? It just sort of went into this parallel dimension. Now the pattern shifts, and you know, really, when you're in that state on the dance floor, the way these patterns shift, I mean, they all seem to contain some structure and message. Again, right, we're still with the key change. Full on, like, extraterrestrial language here. And the tonality is less evident at this point. It's just in the rubbery bass line where we have that. Whoa, what's going on over here? Some new harmonic directions. Again, that drum build-up coming, so we know something is coming. And just incredible, the combination of the rhythmic pattern and those really different harmonies. It's quite a melodic riff. As well as the sound, you know, the kind of nasal, piercing, insistent quality that it's got. I mean, it's quite an adventure, isn't it? And a slower adventure. We do not hear a whole lot of this tempo with that kind of intensity these days. And I mean, it's not something that you can just easily throw in the middle of a set. Right? It really has to be right track, right time, as which is what Ollie always told me. So that's what DJing is. 95% of it's just track selection, right track, right time. And you know, there's a lot of different times when that can work. But you know, the slower tempo is, you know, it's really different, and it packs a punch in a different way. You know, very different than Vimana, which, you know, I'm going on memory, I think was 147. But I remember it was pretty fast. So super different, and so is Floating Universe, which we're going to listen to next, and very different in terms of vibe, right? This one's got that real extraterrestrial intensity with the riffs and those little sort of punctuations that also sound like voices and just part of this big sort of intergalactic ethnic chorus. And Floating Universe has a bit of a different vibe. It's also a little surprising to me that it's actually as slow as it is because I don't think it sounds it. But we'll give that a listen now and we'll see what you think. So here we go, Floating Universe by Etnica. So what's interesting for me is that this harmonic riff, it actually sounds like we're already partway through a track. It doesn't sound quite like an introductory riff. So I think that's why it goes so well together with Plastic. In that Athens Live, you'll hear it, it's just seamless. Notice the undulating under the surface. And that beautiful kick comes in. And it's got that, another sort of hallmark Etnica characteristic, just that sort of ooh kind of voice. It's really like a murmuring. And that shaping of it is just gorgeous. There's those two different high notes. Then slightly lower. It's really hypnotic. Extra hi-hats coming in. And again, we get that build up, and then now these sounds on a big system, it's going to be really quite different. It really seems to like tear through the fabric of the air. Really, a lot more, crackle to it. You can get that sense of it listening at home, but it's really, on a big system, it comes alive. There's a lot in this that reminds me of, I think it's Starship 101, in terms of the voicing and the riffs. I love the way the percussion comes in differently there. Lower, sort of gnarly kind of growly voice in there. I mean, it's beautiful and melodic, but also rhythmic. And we get that up another octave. It's so interesting, right? Because it's uplifting and celebratory in one way, but also quite emotional and anguished and plaintive in some way. Sort of feel the percussion building up in a way here as well. Just kind of dropped a little bit. So here, what a gorgeous riff. That build up, and then again there's this kind of triumphant quality to it, but it's not fully resolved, right? Because there's still that, I don't know, it still feels like that emotional angst on some level. A little bit of that mystery, I think, of mystery of existence, really. Okay, then all that melodic stuff stops, and we've got that good old-fashioned sort of climbing and descending patterning. That one sort of little harmonic element. And then this. This is just, in the Athens Live, this is just off the charts. But this is one, for me, one of the most beautiful melodic evolutions here. And then in the next round, you're going to hear it doubled up. So just really this ecstatic building. Hear that other gnarly sort of one in the background. And we get this kind of almost deceptively jolly riff. And listen to the interplay of all of the elements here. Gorgeous. So again, we have the rhythmic patterning as well as the harmonic riff. And that takes us into this. Again, it's like one of those Greek choruses in the background, right? It's after the main riff has been delivered. Up an octave or two, it's pretty high. Listen again, I've said this many times through the series, listen to all the different frequencies where something's taking place. You can actually hear that. Really soft, right? We hear the chorus in the primarily, but that jolly riff is still happening in the background. Then we get that upper sort of higher octave of that riff. Starts unwinding or winding down. We've been unwinding this whole time. I mean, I've said it many times that you can listen to this stuff at home and then you go to a party and you hear something that's like, what the heck is that? And then, if you ask or you find out, it's like, wait a second, I actually have that at home and it didn't sound like that. These two tracks will definitely make a different impression on a big system in context with all of the lights, the setting, the big system, the frame of mind, all of that sort of stuff. It's going to sound very, very different. And in a set. So, the way these two tracks really beautifully blended and with that ambient intro in the Athens Live from 96, that's where it really landed for me, how big and deep these tracks were. So, I had that CD single, and like many people, I actually did gravitate towards Vimana because it was more of a hit. But, I then sort of, moved on to other things and so on. And, I never played these because they were slower. And even though I am known for being able to drop slow tracks in here and there, or being able to sort of do that evolution through, a storyline, I just actually never played either of them, and that's going to change. But the The power of a slower tempo, of the right content, harmonically, rhythmically, melodically, and sonically in terms of the sound. Uh, what synths they're using and how things are voiced. I mean, it's really something. And so there's a lot of slower music that I think we should be revisiting at this time where everything's kind of 144 to 148 plus. And now we've got these sub-genres that claim they're coming from our scene that are, just these insane tempos that are not made for the body to actually move naturally to, or for your heart rate, really. So, there can be a lot more tension building and releasing at a slower tempo. It'll hit you in a different way. And emotionally, spiritually, holistically, it can really pack a punch in a very, very different way. So, two incredible tracks by Etnica that I absolutely love and that I wanted to feature in this series as a sort of a double episode just because, from that Athens performance, they were just almost this, beautifully unified whole. So I will sign off and then present the tracks again, one by one in sequence. I am Mark DJ Solitaire, wrapping up episode 140 of Retro Goa Explorations and leaving you now with these two beautiful tracks by Etnica, Plastic and Floating Universe.